I want to start with a question that's been burning in my brain ever since I watched episode 3 of Alien, Earth. Tell me, when is a machine not a machine? Sounds like a riddle, right? The kind of thing that at first makes you laugh because you think the answer is simple, like when it breaks, duh. But no. No, this riddle gets under your skin. It stays with you. It makes you think about yourself, your choices, your identity, and whether you're just running on programming, or if you're actually free. And the way this show hit me with it, man. Let's just say I've been turning it over in my mind non-stop. So today, I want to dive deep with you into Alien, Earth, Episode 3, Metamorphosis, and into this riddle, because it's way bigger than just a line of dialogue. It's about Morrow. It's about what it means to be human. And honestly, it's about us. Now before we really tear this apart, let's rewind the story for just a second. Episode 2 ended with Morrow shooting Joe, who happens to be the brother of Wendy. And remember, Wendy isn't just any person, she's the first ever human hybrid being. That's already insane, right? The line between human and other has never been shakier. So when Morrow pulls the trigger on Joe, you realize he's not just a guard dog for Weyland-Yutani. He's a threat. A living reminder that the line between human will and machine command is razor thin. And in episode 3, that danger takes on a whole new meaning when Morrow faces off with the prodigy hybrids. You remember Slightly, right? Played by Adarsh Gaurav. He's a mix of vulnerability and curiosity, stuck in this weird halfway space between boy and machine. That group of hybrids, the Lost Boys, they're practically hanging out next to Xenomorph eggs like it's recess. And that's when Morrow, this looming half-man, half-machine, walks in with a riddle: when is a machine not a machine? And guys, you could feel the room shift. Because that's not a question you ask someone unless you're really pushing them to face who or what they really are. Now on the surface, maybe the answer is, a machine is not a machine when it stops working. Because what is a machine for, right? It's designed to do one thing. A coffee maker makes coffee. A phone makes calls and scrolls TikTok until you lose 3 hours of your life. But the second that thing stops doing its one job, it's not useful anymore. It becomes junk. And for most of us, machines live or die at the flip of an on/off switch. The moment they can't function, they're done. But here's where it gets crazy. What happens when the machine has consciousness? What if it can dream? What if it can want? That's when the rules change. It's not just about function anymore. It's about identity. And this is what gets me. Because Morrow isn't actually talking about machines out there. He's talking about himself. This dude is in the middle of an identity crisis so raw, so terrifying, it makes you question whether he's even alive by choice, or just alive because some corporate master decided to flip his switch back on. Imagine living like that. Imagine knowing you have emotions, desires, struggles, but every step you take might just be the result of wires running deeper than your soul. That's Morrow's world. And if I'm honest, sometimes that's our world too. Let me break it down in plain words. Morrow is a cyborg. He's got both sides inside organic humanity on one hand, the cold programming of machinery on the other. And that natural conflict eats him alive. When he says that line, when he throws that riddle into Slightly's face, what he's really asking is, when do I stop being just a machine? When do I get to claim my own life? Because every single order he takes from Yutani, every time he says the alien specimens are his life's work, deep down, we can see the gears grinding. They're not really his life's work. They're hers. He only calls them his because his programming makes him loyal. That isn't choice. That's slavery with fancy tech layered on top. And yo, when you really think about that, it sticks with you. Because ask yourself, how different are we? You wake up, you go to school, you clock into your job, you pay your bills, you keep grinding. Sometimes it feels like we run on code too. Society's code. Family's code. Algorithms dictating our attention spans. Every scroll, every ping, every dopamine hit from a red notification. That's programming too. And the same way Morrow wrestles with the question of whether he's more than a machine, we wrestle with whether we're more than just operators in someone else's system. If you've ever looked in the mirror and thought, am I really living? Or am I just performing? Then you already know the weight of that riddle. Here's where it gets even wilder. Morrow, for all his coldness, wants connection. He wants friendship. Specifically, he wants to be Slightly's friend. Now why? Because he's lonely? Maybe a little. But really, it's strategy. My guy has an agenda. He knows that Slightly, and the rest of the hybrids, are part of some deeper plan by Prodigy and Boy Cavalier. He's not dumb. If he wins their trust, if he can confuse them, maybe even break them apart from each other, then he gains leverage. That leverage could buy him power. Maybe even freedom. But here's the twisted part: he can only attempt this manipulation by pretending to be human. By pretending to be a friend. And doesn't that say something messed up about how much we equate humanity with connection and trust? But think about it from Slightly's side. Slightly is this hybrid kid with memories. And in the story of Peter Pan, Slightly remembers more about life before Neverland than the other Lost Boys. And dude, that hits hard here. Because Morrow uses that same truth to nudge him. To remind him, deep down, that even though he feels alive in his synthetic body, he isn't the boy he used to be. Imagine hearing that. Imagine someone telling you, you might think you're normal, but you're not. You're different. You're alien. That would shatter you. That would make you question everything: the people you call family, the trust you put in your creators, even your own reflection. If that doesn't mess with your head, nothing will. And I think that's Morrow's play. He's trying to plant a seed of doubt in Slightly's mind. Because once you doubt yourself, you become easier to control. Turn one hybrid against Prodigy, and the dominoes start to fall. That's power. That's manipulation at its creepiest. But again, what does that say about Morrow? It says he's desperate. It says that under all the wires and programming, there's a spark of humanity reaching through. Twisted, yes, but human. Because manipulation, betrayal, ambition, that's not machine logic. That's raw human nature. Now let's zoom out for a second. This whole riddle about when a machine is not a machine, it's at the center of the entire Alien legacy. Because what is the Alien franchise really about? It's never just been about monsters popping out of chests. It's always been this exploration of fear of the body, fear of corporate greed, fear of losing what makes us human. Every synthetic character, from Ash to Bishop to David, has stood in as a reflection of us. Machines make us ask bigger questions. Like, at what point does artificial intelligence cross into sentience? At what point does control become cruel? At what point do we stop being human if we merge too much with what we create? These aren't just sci-fi questions anymore. They're happening right now in our world, in every AI we train, in every chip that makes our devices smarter while stealing our attention. And that's why when I heard Morrow's riddle, it didn't just feel like a throwaway line. It felt like a mirror. A mirror asking me if I'm living the way I want to live, or if I'm just following invisible code. And honestly, sometimes I don't like the answer. So let me break it down simpler, real talk, bullet point style, because I want you to feel it the way I feel it. 1. A machine is a machine when it follows commands. 2. A machine stops being a machine when it chooses for itself. 3. But the hardest line to cross isn't physical, it's emotional. The moment you feel pain, love, longing, that's when you slipped into human territory. And that's Morrow's prison. His programming collides with his emotions, and the result is chaos. That's why he's terrifying. That's why he's tragic. That's why this riddle isn't just storytelling, it's philosophy dressed up in sci-fi horror. And here's the part that hit me like a gut punch. Watching this episode, I realized I've seen this riddle before. Not in words, but in life. Every single person I know who's been stuck in a cycle they hate but can't break, that's the same question. Every person who wakes up and thinks, do I have a choice, or am I running on autopilot? That's the same conflict. Every heartbreak, every mistake, every defiance against expectations is us proving we're not machines. We bleed, we mess up, we love, we rage. That's the proof. And yet, some days, it feels like we're closer to Morrow than we'd like to admit. Still serving, still caught, still fighting for freedom we don't even know how to define. So maybe the real answer to Morrow's riddle isn't technical at all. Maybe a machine stops being a machine not when it breaks down, not when someone cuts the wires, but when it starts dreaming of freedom. When it takes to be more than what it was built to be. That's when it's something powerful. That's when it becomes something dangerous. And that's when it becomes something alive. And I've got to leave you with this, because I need you to sit with it. Are you living right now, or are you running code? Are you following a script someone else wrote for you, or are you breaking free and writing your own lines? Because maybe that's the ultimate message Alien, Earth is throwing at us. That freedom is terrifying, it's messy, it's painful. But it's real. And once you taste real, you'll never want to go back to being a machine. Guys, if this talk hit you in the chest, if you felt that sting the way I did, then this is your moment. Don't just click out of this video and move on to the next distraction. I want you to leave a comment. Tell me where in your life you feel like a machine, where you feel programmed, and where you're fighting to break free. I'll read them. I want to know. Because this, right here, This community we're building, it's not about machines. It's about people. Real people with real struggles who are not afraid to wrestle with questions that cut deep. So drop that comment. Share this with someone you know is stuck in autopilot, because they need to hear this too. And of course, hit that like button, and smash subscribe, not because some algorithm is telling you to, but because you want to be part of this space where we keep it raw, keep it real, and keep pushing past the code. And remember, every day you wake up, you've got two choices. Run the program. Or break it. Which one are you going to do?